And again, I'm feeling like, oh my God, this is the moment. They haven't figured out that I'm a fake yet. This is the moment that they're going to see that they've been wasting their time and their money working with me. You know, even though all the evidence up to this point shows that things are going well. But this is really what goes on in my head.
You're listening to The Creative Impostor, episode number 68.
Welcome to The Creative Impostor. I'm Andrea Klunder, and you are listening to this episode 1 week late. What? No, I'm recording it and sending it out to you 1 week late. And when I say that, I don't even know if you know that, if I don't tell you. I don't know if you have any idea what my intended podcast episode release schedule is. I don't know if you listen to podcasts that way, if you're eagerly waiting by your phone for the next episode of The Creative Impostor to drop. But I know what I want my schedule to be. And in fact, I'm in my podcast booth right now looking at my May calendar, and it says solo on Wednesday, May 2nd. And in fact, this episode is coming out on Wednesday, May 9th, 1 week late, according to my calendar. And I feel bad. I feel like a failure. I feel like I give podcasting advice and I recommend that people pick a schedule and they stick to it. And I know that consistency is important in general, in business, in life, in podcasting. But sometimes there are other priorities. Sometimes you need to do something differently for other reasons. And in this case, I'm going to call it self-care. And along the lines of self-care, I am also going to tell you that this will be a fairly short episode. We are going to be in and out in 15 minutes or less. And I am not telling you that so that you can start a countdown. I am not telling you that so that you can skip this episode and think, well, what could Andrea possibly have to say in 15 minutes or less that would be important? It's probably not going to be that great of an episode. I can just skip it and do something else. No, my friends, I am telling you that in order to practice setting a boundary for myself, because I'm recording this on Sunday evening. It is after 8 o'clock. I have not yet eaten dinner and I'm hungry. And I want to get this done before I eat, because after I eat, I'm not going to feel like doing it. And that's the real honest truth. And so setting boundaries for myself is also part of self-care. Okay, why am I on this self-care bandwagon and kick once again? And what does this have to do with creativity and imposter syndrome? Let me go back in time to November 2017. November 2017, I had a great meeting over cocktails with a couple of people from the Santa Fe Opera about a podcast that they wanted to launch that is a behind-the-scenes look at a new initiative that they have started called Opera for All Voices. And we were getting together to discuss how I, as a professional podcast producer and editor, could help them to make their podcast awesome. It was a great meeting. I followed up and I heard nothing back. Holidays came and went. I heard nothing back. Checked in after the holidays, heard nothing back. And I was like, well, I really effed up that meeting. I thought it went super well, but I guess it didn't. Or maybe I'm not what they were looking for. Or maybe they wanted someone with more experience. Or maybe I didn't ask enough questions. Or maybe I'm not really a professional podcast producer. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe they need to go hire someone who's worked in public radio for a while. And then in February, I received an email. Hey, Andrea, we are ready to move forward with the podcast and would love to reconnect and see if we can work this out. Whoa, I thought it was totally gone. And then suddenly all the nerves, all the anticipation that I had going into that initial meeting in November came back. Oh no, I have to talk to them again. Oh no, I have to sell myself. Oh no, what if they realize that they've made a horrible mistake and they actually don't want to hire me? Oh no, I'm going to have to quote them a fee. What fee will I quote them? And how will I set a fee that is fair to me, in which I will not be overworking myself, as I tend to do, hence that boundary setting thing, and working a million hours in exchange for what will inevitably end up being less than minimum wage? But I got the job. And in fact, we are in the midst right now. By the time that you are listening to this, actually the day I'm releasing this episode, our trailer for the first season of the new podcast will be live. The name of the podcast, by the way, is called Key Change, and you should be able to find it in Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, and most of your favorite podcast listening apps at the time that you're hearing this. And the official season will begin to release June 29th, but I'm not here to promote that podcast, though I would love for you to listen to it. I'm here to tell you what the Santa Fe Opera Podcast Project, self-care, imposter syndrome, setting boundaries, and releasing this episode a week late all have to do with each other. And not only that, what they have to do with you. Okay, so I was working along on this podcast and getting everything ready, and it's a big job. It's much more in-depth than sitting here in front of the mic and talking off the top of my head about things that I've been thinking about for ages, and even more than just doing an interview and cutting that interview and sending it to you. It involves telling the story from multiple perspectives. It involves interviews that I have not recorded and conducted. It involves listening to hours of tape. It involves many voices. It involves a social impact mission statement. It involves grant money that is behind it. It involves narration and musical scoring and other artists and collaboration. And as you know, the more people that you're collaborating with, the more complex things become. But everything was moving along, and I was scheduled to go to Santa Fe to record some things with the two producers and hosts, Andrea and Brandon. And I got sick. I got the flu, and it sucked. And I tried to get over the flu so that I could go on this stupid trip, which I was so looking forward to and which was so key to getting this podcast done. And I was pushing myself to get better. I mean, what does that even mean? I was pushing myself to get better? Like, don't we allow ourselves to get better or rest to get better or just wait for the illness, the virus, whatever it is, to get out on its own time? No, I was like, I gotta do this. Like, I became a monster. It was ugly. And you know what? I didn't get better. I had to cancel the trip. And again, I was thinking to myself, oh my God, they're going to fire me. They're going to fire me because it is my job to do this thing and to go on this trip and to be healthy. And they're counting on me and I'm letting everyone down. And my fingers felt like lead as I was typing an email to say that I had to cancel my flight. Well, of course, I mean, I don't know what was actually going on in their heads, but of course that is not how they responded. They did not fire me. They did not blame me for getting the flu. But we had to come up with an alternate solution. And that alternate solution ended up being a trip to New York City. Someplace that I love to go and have not been to in, the last time I was in New York, it was a short one-night stay on my way to Cairo, Egypt with my sister and my aunt and my uncle, which was the summer before I opened my very first business, the yoga studio. So that would be 2008. It has been 10 years since I have been in New York City, one of my favorite places on earth. So this was great. And by the time the trip rolled around, I was feeling 95% better. This flu thing really held on for a long time. 95% better. I fly to New York City and we have 2 days booked in a recording studio. We're doing some interviews on the first day, and then on the second day, we will be working on recording scripted narration, filling in the blanks, and doing a trailer. Remember that trailer I mentioned? Recording that trailer, and we'll be good to go. However, I am sweating. I'm sweating when I get to New York, and not because it's hot outside. I'm sweating because we don't have a script. I'm sweating because I have that thing running in the back of my mind, like time is money, and I'm spending other people's money, and therefore I should not be wasting time. And I'm having big time imposter syndrome feelings. So I get in Wednesday night. I I try to go to bed early, wake up fresh, go to the recording session on Thursday morning, and it's fine. And I don't know what I was sweating over that. And I think to myself, awesome, it's lunchtime. I'm going to get some lunch, and then I'm going to have the whole rest of Thursday to prepare for our scripted recording session tomorrow morning. And then what happens? They invite me to go out to lunch with somebody awesome. And then after that, it's afternoon time and I'm feeling really sleepy and sluggish. And they're like, well, what are you going to do tonight? And I said, oh, I'm probably going to stay around the hotel, get some work done, prepare for tomorrow morning. And they're like, what? You're in New York City. It's Thursday night. Go see a show. You're staying a 10-minute walk outside of Times Square. Go see a show. And I'm like, go see a show? This is a work trip. Did you not get the memo that this is a work trip? I need to be working. And so I follow their advice and I go see a show. And it's Hello, Dolly with Bernadette Peters, classic Broadway musical theater. And it's great. And I get home and I'm so tired. I just pass right out. And then it's Friday morning and we have another scheduled recording studio time and I don't have a plan. And again, I'm feeling like, oh my God, this is the moment. They haven't figured out that I'm a fake yet. This is the moment. And as I'm recording this, I'm thinking, oh God, I hope that Andrea and Brandon are not listening to this episode of my show because I don't know how it makes me look, but this is really what goes on in my head. They haven't figured out I'm a fake yet, but this is the moment. This is the moment where I don't have a plan, that they are going to see that they've been wasting their time and their money working with me, you know, even though all the evidence up to this point shows that things are going well. So as we're having breakfast together, and then as we're walking to the recording studio, my brain is like in overdrive trying to figure out how this session is going to go. And I just felt like so sick to my stomach. And then we get there and we say hi to our recording engineer who's super chill and laid back. And we have the mic set up and we sit down in this really cool, funky New York loft in the Chelsea neighborhood with all of these vintage instruments all around us. And suddenly the plan reveals itself in my mind as if planted there by magic. We have a fantastic, fun, off-the-cuff, authentic recording session together. And when we walk away from that session, I feel incredible. I feel incredible because it was a success. Because it was a success and I did not have to stay in my hotel Thursday night, locked in the tiny room on my laptop, slaving away at making a plan and writing a script. I was able to go out to enjoy myself, to take some time off, to soak in some culture and some inspiration, and to trust, ultimately, in the end, trust my instincts, trust my training, trust what I know I can do and what I'm good at, which is being in the moment, responding to what is available to me, asking people questions, and getting stories out of people and helping them feel confident and empowered. And bottom line, getting the job done. And it was a good reminder that sometimes in order to be more productive, in order to be our best creatively and professionally, and in order to do our best work, we have to take care of ourselves. And sometimes that means taking time off. And sometimes that means playing. And sometimes that means sleeping. Even if it feels like we should be working. Boundaries, play, rest, giving yourself that space for the creative work, the creative ideas to incubate behind the scenes. That is part of what we are going to be doing in my 8-week Summer Self-Care Society, which begins May 17th. And as of this moment, I have exactly 2 spots left. It is an online program, which means that you can participate from anywhere, from your office, from your home, from your pajamas, from your bubble bath with essential oils and rose petals floating in it, for all I care. It's all about taking care of you, and we are going deeper than that bubble bath. I have some guest practitioners who are going to be sharing special topics and challenges with us from week to week. And at the end of the program, you're going to tally up points that you have earned for completing these challenges, and you'll get a special self-care package in the mail from me. Yeah, the real mail. You can learn more about the Summer Self-Care Society and snag one of those last 2 spots at thecreativeimpostor.com/SSS, 3 S's. And of course, it is linked for you in the show notes right here at thecreativeimpostor.com/068 for episode 68. This episode was partly inspired by the interview episode that is coming out next week with Robin Conley Downs of the Feel Good Effect podcast and Real Food Whole Life, in which you're going to hear even more about the mindset shifts that are required for real health and wellness. And this has to do with so many things: self-care, entrepreneurship, business, personal growth and development, success, podcasting. I mean, we really cover it all. And that is exactly what happened to me on this trip to New York, was all about mindset. That trip could have gone either way. That recording session could have gone either way. I had to make the decision of how it was going to go down, and that's what made all the difference. So I encourage you to come back next week for my interview with Robin. This episode was mixed by Edwin Ruiz of Mondo Machine, and our theme music is by Jovia Armstrong. Thank you so much for listening, and this week I am hoping you will take care of you by setting some boundaries, shifting your mindset, taking some time off to sleep, play, or just freaking be, and trusting the process, trusting yourself to make it all happen anyway.